the lesson number 15, the page Dalet 4, Hasulam, in Hasulam, the left column, the line 17. But we will start a little bit above, from the line 11. וזה שאומר, דהתקלל בברית ההוא, דעל 12 בשושנה. Double point. וזה שאומר, and this is what he says, what it says, the Zohar, our Zohar. והתקלל בברית ההוא, and it is enclosed in this brit, in this covenant, the Ail B'Shoshana, that is entered in the Shoshana. Double point, 12 double point. כלומר, שהי החסדים הללו נכללו 13 מקודם ביסוד דזעיר אנפין, ולא באו ישר מבינה 14 הנקרא אלוקים אל הנוקבה. Point 12. כלומר, that means שהי החסדים, that 5 chasadim, הללו, these 5 chasadim, נכללו מקודם, were firstly enclosed in the yesod of Zeir Anpin, Velo bau yashar mebina, and didn't come directly from the bina, that the name of which is 14 Elokim El Hanukva, to the Nukva. Point. We'll just explain. 14 after the point. V'habrit hi yesod 15. The Zeir Anpin, the Ail B'Shoshana, v'natan otam eleha. V'habrit, and the Brit, the covenant, is Yesod of Zeir Anpin. The Ail B'Shoshana, that entered in the Shoshana. V'natan otam eleha, and gave them to her. Point. V'hata'am 16 yitbaer basamuch. And the how do you call it, this, the sense of it, the meaning of it, will be explained beneath, just in the adjacent passage. So we have learned in the last lessons that the Nukwa, the Malchut, in her small state, that the Malchut is built up by Zeir Anpin, and she was able to then, in her grown-up state, she became able to reflect the light of Chasadim, the 5 Chasadim that Zeir Anpin sent her, and she reflected this light with her 5 Gvurot. And that is what he here speaks about, that but he said that Zeir Anpin, and Zeir Anpin, we know that Zeir Anpin begins with the Sfirah Chesed, and it has 5 Chasadim, it means 5 Sfirot filled with Chesed. So Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, and Hod. These are 5 Sfirot of Zeir Anpin. And they are all filled with Chesed, because the Ima, the mother, the Binah, he stretches up till the Hod. Her power is up till the Hod, and not further. So the 5 Chasadim the Zeir Anpin receives from the Binah, and then he gives them into makes them suitable for the Nukva, and and Zeir Anpin gives them to the Yesod. And the Yesod, as we have spoken the last time, is a very special item in the spirituality, because the receiver is the real receiver of the light, is the real creation, is the Nukva, is the Malchut. So who provides the light to her? Yesod of Zeir Anpin. So Yesod gives her, provides her these 5 Chasadim, and they don't come directly from the Binah, but first through the Zeir Anpin, and Zeir Anpin give them to the Yesod. And this covenant, what he speaks about, is the Yesod of Zeir Anpin. You see, this covenant comes in the Shoshana. Every higher level, we can say that it stands higher than the adjacent lower stage, but we can say also that it is inside the lower level. So Zeir Anpin, Yesod of Zeir Anpin, enters into the Shoshana, into the Malchut, and brings with him this light of Chasadim. That light of Chasadim she needs, because she receives, her nature is only the Gvorot, the judgment, the strictness, and she needs this softening. by Zeir Anpin. His nature is Chasadim, Chesed, loving kindness. (17) V'hinei Eilu Hei Chasadim Hayotzim Al Hei Gvurot Kanal 18 Hem Nikra Zera Gam Teida Sheikar Tokef Hadin 19 V'hagvurot Shebamasach Shebakocham Makeh Al Haor 20 Ha'elyon Umachaziro Le'achorav Hinei Hu Nimtza Rak 21 Ba'ateret Hayesod de Zeir Anpin Shehu Mamshich Otam 22 Mimazal Venake Shebadikna Vehanukva Mekabelet Mimenu 23 Rak Heara Ve'anav Bilvad. Firstly, I will translate it, and then we will see what we can understand from this. There are different layers in understanding of this, and it's deep, very deep. 17. Vehinei, and look, behold, Eilu Hei Chasadim, these 5 Chasadim, Hayotzim Al Hei Gvurot, that come out above these 5 Gvurot. Kanal is mentioned above, 18. Hem Nikraim Zera, they are called Zera, seed. Both of them. And Chasadim and Gvurot together, they are called seed. Look what he tells us. Gam Teida, know also. So it's just an imperative. Just he speaks to the reader. He says, also know that Sheyikar Tokev Hadin, that the essence of the power of Din, of the judgment, 19, V'hagvurot, and the Gvurot, and these powers of Gvurot, strictness, Sheba Masach, that are in the Masach, in the screen, Sheba Kocham Makeh Al Haor Elyon, that by the power of which it slashes upon at the higher light, Umachaziro Le'acharav, and returns it back. Hinei Hu Nimtza, this is situated Rak Ba'ateret Hayesod Zeir Anpin 21, only in the Ateret Hayesod of Zeir Anpin. I will just let you know. In the crown of the Yesod of Zeir Anpin. This is the literary translation. Shehu Mamshich Otam, which the Ateret Yesod draws them down mimazal, from the mazal, from a certain point in the higher partsuf of, in the upper partsuf, in the Atzilut, in the partsuf Keter of Atzilut, in the name of which is Arich Anpin. Vinake, and this mazal, this place, is called Vinake, and he makes clean. He Shebadikna, just the name of it. Shebadikna, that which mazal, which this certain place from where this light is drawn, is in the dikna, in the bird, in the place of the partsuf Arichanpin, that is called a bird. You know, bird is somewhere in the face, in the a part of the head. So in such a way, I will just will try to explain a little bit more. V'anukva mekabelet mimenu, and whereas the nukva receives from him, from the yesod of Zeir Anpin, rak ha'ara, only the small shining, ve'anaf bilvat, and only a branch light, as it were, a small light only. Point. What does he wants to say us? What does it mean? He speaks about these partsufim in the Atzilut, in the world Atzilut. As we learned in very general terms before, in our introduction lessons, there was something like a Big Bang, a kind of what we call shvirat kilim, the breaking, the shattering of the kilim previous to the building up of the world of Atzilut, from where all the light comes to the creation, to the lower worlds. And as lower you go, as lower you come to on the ladder of the spiritual ladder, the less, as it were, powers are left. And because everything that exists and that came into existence was built up due to this phenomenon of the zivug, copulation between the coming light and the resistance, or as it were, the reflection from the lower part of the creation that receive this light. First reflects it and then brings it inside itself. So it was in the first receipt of the light, when the light Ein Sof came into this whole empty place after the Ein Sof shrinked itself, as it were, in order to allow in this central place of the universe existence of the worlds. And the first receipt of light was the Keter, the Partsuf Keter of the world Adam Kadmon. And another name is Galgalta, Partsuf Galgalta. And very important is, from the beginning of our study, to know how to define the place and the light. The place means the vessel, a vessel, kli, as we call it. It can be a world, a partsuf, a sphera, a point, and the corresponding light, the light that corresponds to this, to a certain kli. And when we are speaking about kli in the Kabbalah, we are speaking about the kli that has already the power of a certain power of a masach, of a screen. If something doesn't have a screen, it doesn't belong to spirituality. Then it's not the subject of the Kabbalah. It is not found, it's not seen on the ladder, on the spiritual ladder. That's why in the prayer on the Rosh Hashanah, on the new year of the universe, and on the Yom Kippur, that are written, one says words that a man says that, may you write me in the book of living. It means that not only by the life as a human being lives here on earth, it doesn't suggest that someone, per the definition, also exists in the spirituality, in the real reality. So that's why they say, once a man says in his prayer, may I be written in this living book, the book of living. And this means that, what does it mean? By this, by saying this, one says, as it were, with other words, may I build up my masachim, my anti-egoistic screens, in a way that I will be existing in this true reality, and not in my just my feelings, my emotions, here on earth, eating, drinking, doing everything just as an animal does. Something that lives and then it doesn't exist anymore. And this is so in such a way is everything built up from the Ein Sof up till the Malchut of the world Asiya. And so we see that in the first receipt of the light Ein Sof came as a cover, just as a single line. It came into this empty place, and it came to the place where the Malchut, and the Malchut was installed with the full range of the Masach, Keter, Chochmah, Binah, Zeir Anpin, and Malchut, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. So the fourth stage, the powerful, is the fourth stage, the Malchut. The Malchut had reflected this light, the highest reflection, and from that came this first Partzuf Galgalta. So at that point, Malchut was in her right place, in the place of the Malchut, in the head of this receipt, this Partzuf that came into existence, the first Partzuf Galgalta, or Keter. Then the light came out of this Partzuf, and came another Partzuf, whereby the Malchut, where the Masach stood, it was first in the Malchut, yes, then it rose to the Zeir Anpin, the place of Zeir Anpin. So one place higher, because there was, if the Malchut rises up in the head higher, it means that the Partzuf, the following Partzuf, will become shorter, because the Malchut sees, as it were, only one less light in the coming light, in the light that comes and shines upon this Malchut. So, in the next Partzuf, Partzuf Chochmah, or we call it also Ab. In this Partzuf, Malchut makes the reflection of the light, of coming light, up till the Chochmah, but she, the Malchut, stands now not in the Malchut, in the place of Malchut, but in the place of the Zeir Anpin. Now, in the third receipt of light, the Malchut is rising up to the even one upper position. Now she stands in the Binah of the head. We have different names in the Kabbalah for this. For the Sfirot in the head, we use different names in order to point where we are speaking about. The place in the Malchut, in the head, we call it Peh, the mouth. The place of Zeir Anpin in the head, we call it Chotem, we call it nose. And the place of the Binah in the head of a Partsuf, we call it everywhere. We call it Ozen, we call it ear. Ear. And further, there are two more places. But step by step. Now, in the third receipt of light, the Malchut is standing, so Masach is standing in the Binah, in the ear. And it sees only three lights. Yeah, Binah, three lights more. Three lights above here. What is above here, above the Masach, that's what she sees. Then was the fourth receipt of the light. And in the fourth receipt of the light was the Partsuf was built up, Partsuf Nekudim was built up under the tabur, under the navel of the Adam Kadmon. And it was, this Partsuf was, we call it, the world Nekudim. Just listen, everything will come. And this Partsuf came into existence when the Malchut stood already in the Chokhmah, in the place of Chokhmah, in the place of Chokhmah, in the head of the Adam Kadmon. And the place of Chokhmah is called Nikveinayim, the opening of eyes, of the eyes. Eyes are Chokhmah. In the head, we call eye is Chokhmah. So that was the world Nikudim. And then we have learned already that this world was broken. And the light of Chokhmah came through the place that that is called Parsa, and the Kelim and the Masachim, the screens, everything was broken, almost everything. And then the next to come was the world Atzilut. Then in the course of these rising ups of the Malchut in the head of the Adam Kadmon, Malchut rised up to the place of Keter in the head. It was a short place, a little bit light was it from above, because where the place where the Malchut stands, this Malchut stands, everything from what is above here, this shines, and everything what under here is under here power. There is no shining of the light or Yashar under the Malchut. So, in the Atzilut, in the world Atzilut, and we are working with it, the Zohar tells us about the world Atzilut. So, in the world Atzilut, the real Malchut is hidden now in the Keter, and the place of the Keter is called Galgalta, as we know. And the place of the Keter where she is hidden, Malchut is hidden, is in the head of the Keter. Okay? This is very important to know why. Because as a consequence of this, rising up of the Malchut up till the let's say Binah of the Keter, everything what is under this place, and this is the Arichanpin. Arichanpin is the Chochmah, Partsuf Chochmah of the Atzilut. Yes, and not, it means that it is one sphera lower than the place where the Malchut is concealed. Then everything what is below the Keter is built up without this real Malchut. It means now, because this Malchut is everything everywhere where this Malchut would stand, everything where this Malchut stands, she makes, as it were, the border. Yes? So, boundary. She lets the light not pass through. But now, look, very important, what I try to say. Just global, what you can grasp from what I say. That this Malchut, the real Malchut, now in the Atzilut, was made a great tikkun, a correction, that this Malchut is concealed in the Binah of the Keter. Let's say in the Keter, but just then all the Partsufim that now develop themselves under this Keter, all of them doesn't have the real Malchut. They have only 9 Sfirot from the Keter till the Yesod, 9 Sfirot. And someone must be in Partsuf, in every Partsuf must be a place where that is able to to reflect the light, because otherwise there is no receipt of light. The light comes and through, and there is no one to feel this light. You see how it's important in every situation to be able to reflect the light. Only by the reflection of the light can we grasp things, receive the light. In the Atzilut, we see that there is no Malchut anymore, the real Malchut. So every Partzuf now, from Arichanpin, and then Abba V'Yima, and Zon, all of them are built up from out of 9 Sfirot. And under these 9 Sfirot, there is the lowest Sfira is Yesod. And the Yesod has 2 parts, a higher part and a lower part. The lower part of the Yesod, the name of it is Ateret Yesod. It means the crown of Yesod. In our imagination, we would expect the crown of Yesod to be higher than the Yesod itself. But it's not like this. You know what Yesod means in our bodily parts, as a bodily organ. So you can see what is the end of the Yesod is, as it were, is called the crown. And then is the last point, as it were, where the light comes to it, and there is no other place to, it is a kind of substitution of the Malchut. And it can rise, it can reflect the light, but naturally the light is not as the light that would be reflected, is not actually not this, has this the power like the real Malchut. But nevertheless, it is possible, it is the light, as it were, it is possible to receive the light in it and to provide it further to the place that, as it were, the place of the Malchut, and to provide it further through the place of the Malchut in every 10 Sfirot, down to the lower levels. Just what you hear, try just not too much with your understanding, trying to understand, to grasp things, but what I say to you, step by step, we will come further. So now we are turning back to our piece of Zohar. Yeah, you will see step by step, we will repeat things from different angles, from different points of view. You will see it. So step by step, now it comes from this direction, then it will come from another direction, and steadily you will see it will grow and grow. Your perception of the spirituality will increase. steadily, but you must only open yourself for this, not make barriers to it, to the coming of the light into you. That's what he said to us in the line 18. He said that also know, he said. So in the Zohar you will see very often Zohar speaks to the reader, to imaginative reader, in the terms of imperative. Just know. Yeah, just like, please know. Just know, it means that let it enter into yourself. And then you will also, eventually you will also taste it. But first, the word teda, word for knowing. Gam teda, he said, also know that the essence of this din, and din means the masach, the place where the masach stands. Va'gvurot sheba masach, and the gvurot, like in the masach, like the malchut, what he spoke first, what he had spoke first about. You remember, he had been spoken about the malchut, that the malchut rises up 5 gvurot from the masach of the malchut. And now he says to us, yes, it's right that it malchut does, of course, but look now, normally it's like this, and definitely it will be like this, but now all the 6,000 years of the creation, it happens in a slightly different way, that not the malchut itself rises up these 5 gvurots and din, reflecting the light and bringing the light into here. But instead of it, in place of the malchut, it happens through the ateret yesod, this crown of yesod. And remember this word, very important, ateret yesod. We have spoken a little bit about the circumcision. Also the circumcision, I mean spiritual circumcision. This is the spiritual circumcision, whereby the impure powers are cut off, and the ateret yesod now can communicate with the light, reflect it, make some count how much it can receive, and then receive it through the yesod and within this ateret yesod. And under this ateret yesod, remember, it's not just a place. Under this ateret yesod, in every state, this is the place called malchut, And Malchut means kingdom. This is the place where we feel all the in every state of us. We feel in this place Malchut, we feel all this space, what we call space, our reception of inner reception of space, of different levels, etc. This is the kingdom, and the most coarse place in the Partzuf. But only here is the place. This is the place of the actual place of the reception of light, and not in the heights. That's why by studying the Kabbalah, we bring the light down. We are, by coming up with our with our request for light, our working on ourselves. From one point we are coming higher and higher, and in the same way, the higher you can come in the real reality, the lower you can bring the light with you. And that's what he said here, that now the place, the essence of this din and gvurot that are in the Masach, whereby by which the high light can be reflected, can be thrown back and then reflected and be received and being received and make it light coming in, is Ateret Yesod of Zeir Anpin. Very important thing now to know. And then he says something, just by the way, he said something about the light that this Ateret Yesod attracts, from where it comes. And he says, 21 after the comma, that Shehu Mamshich Otam Mimazal, that Zeir Anpin draws it from the Mazal. Mazal, we call it like a star, yeah? Or Mazal, we call it like, how can we translate it? You know that we say it like this: one must have his Mazal, yeah, be lucky to get his luck, yeah, from somewhere, let's say, out of the constellation of the stars, like this, huh? Heavenly body, you see, to take it somewhere where in the height there is a mazal. Every person, and it is indeed like this, every person has its mazal, its place, actually, where the light comes to him. But there is a general place that calls mazal, that in the Partsuf of the Arichan Pin that we will study later in another place. And this place calls the name of it Vinake. It's not place now to explain this. And this is the place is in the Dikna. Dikna means the bird of the Arichanpin. And the bird, it has nothing to do with the physical bird, just the as you see, the religious people are having birds. Also, I also have a bird, but it has nothing to do with this. But I mean, if one doesn't know what the bird is, the bird will not help him. I do it just because I know what it is, and this resembles me still. It does me as it were that resembling me and connecting me in my thoughts to this place that calls Dikna, the bird of the Arichanpin. Just by resembling, we must have similarity with the high. But it's not something that an obligation or something like this. Because I'm a teacher of this, and all my life is now, I mean, from that point that I started studying Kabbalah, was just dramatically, or maybe not dramatically, but it changed upside down. And then I took everything like this, what I learned from my great teacher. And so this place, just remember this. So this place comes from the Arichanpin. What maybe it will be too extensive if I will just explain it right now. But if just maybe several words. If some light comes from something like a bird, yeah, like a bird. A bird means that it comes from outside. You see, outside, not from inside, from outside of the head of Arichanpin. Bird, yes. I mean bird. I mean this from hairs, hair on your face. Hair on your face. Okay. That is okay. Bird, of course. So if what he says, that the light to this Ateret Yesod comes from the bird. And from the bird, he said, there is a place where it is, as it were, attached to the mazal, to the place which is called mazal. And it is from outside. Why? We will see, because several words about this. Because you remember that in the head now, everywhere, in every partsuf, in the head, under the Keter and the Chochmah, is placed this Malchut. The real Malchut, the Malchut, stands in the Attic, in the Keter of the Atzilut. As I said, after the, let's say, Keter Chochmah in the Binah. But then the reflection of this Malchut has, of course, the reflection or her influence is, of course, to feel in every place that corresponds to this place in the lower Partsufim. So the next lower Partsuf is Arichanpin. Arichanpin is the Chochmah of actually Keter, but the place of it is in the Chochmah of the Atzilut. What it means? That also in the Arichanpin, the Partsuf Arichanpin, Chochmah, we say Chochmah if we connect it to the Atik, to the Keter of the Atzilut. But actually, the Arichanpin is the Keter of Atzilut. But doesn't matter. What I want to say is that also in the 10 Sfirot of the Arichanpin, you see also under the Keter and Chochmah, you see this Malchut of Tzimtzum Aleph, of the first Tzimtzum. This Malchut that actually stands now in the Atzilut, in the Atik, under the Keter Chochmah of the Atik. So we see, and we have learned, that this Malchut can only reflect the light that above here, but then it makes the full stop, and through this Malchut can the light not pass. You know why? Because there was something like the first Tzimtzum. You remember the first Tzimtzum, when the first restriction, when the Malchut was not allowed anymore to receive the light of Chochmah. That's why from within the Partsufim is it impossible to get this light of Chochmah pass from one Partsuf to another one. But due to the upcoming of this Partsuf, of this Malchut, to her position, to its position under the Chochmah in every Partsuf, the light, as it were, came out of the head of the Partsuf and was spread, the light of Chasadim, the light of, let's say, what we say, the light, just listen what I hear, doesn't matter what you understand, just hear what it is, everything will come in good places, but just hear what I say, because some people study 20 years, they don't hear, they never hear about what I said to you and now already. So here in the head were two lights, the light of the direct light, because direct light is the real light, and the light of the creation from the Malchut. This is the Or Choser, the reflected light. So when the Malchut came up, there came a moment when the light was burst off from the head, burst off, can you say it? Okay, burst off. So and then this light, reflected light, couldn't follow the direct light. Direct light is a light without any connection. Actually, its source is light, but the light, reflected light, its source is the creation, is the creation itself. So it can't just go up and go to the source of the light. So then this, but it must be something happened with this light. So this reflected light came from the head, as it were, like we have the channels in our holes, as it were, in the hairs, the channels in which and there are the hairs are growing from these channels. In these channels, through these channels are coming into our hairs also the whole kind of nutrition for the hairs. So in the same way, spiritual, this reflected light came through the head, and then came over the head, and then came through the left and right places of where we have our ears, like the right and from the right and the red and the left sides, like bird, through which come the light, a very small light, the light within these hairs, within this beard. And the beard means din, means also because the nature of it, this light that came out of the head, is din. Yes, because it's reflected light. That's why, and within them is the light that is now the light of Chokhmah also, that is that by which all the Atzilut, the lower Partsufim of Atzilut are fitted. And so like it comes through the Abba V'Yima, comes to Zeir Anpin and Nukva, and all the worlds receive actually from this head of the Arich Anpin. And there are three places through which it comes. It is right and left, from right side and left side, and from behind of the head. Three places. How we will study it, how later, and on the right place. And the place where the beard ends, this is the place where Abba V'Yima, the Partsufim Abba V'Yima, are hanging, are fastened upon it. And that's why they receive it, this place where the light through the bird is shining to the Binah, to the Abba V'Yima, is called Mazal. From the sides of the face, it comes to the Abba V'Yima, and she receives it. And Abba Uima is Binah. They don't have a beard. Everything you can see exactly in the height, in the spiritual ladder, how it structured. That's why also in our world, a woman doesn't have a beard. And from behind the head is also comes hairs of the head comes lower than to the place where this hair touches the head, the place that is called head of Zeir Anpin, and gives them this light, as it were, from within. But it is everything from outside, because from within there is no way to bring the light from within the Partsuf of Arich Anpin, the light of Chokhmah, because of this Malchut, the Malchut that stands in his head. So that must be enough, a little bit, to tell you how it works. This is also maybe a reason that I have a small, how do you call it, flecht on my head from behind. Yes, I have also small clet, like braided hair. I have also small like this from ponytail. Huh? Yeah. No, but also flecht, also like a mother braided hair, from one point to another one, just to resemble these highly spiritual phenomena. You see, a lot of things I tried just to point out, in order not to let you just hear things without any explanation. So you heard about this. You can hear it once more. It is, they don't tell about this in the first year of study of Kabbalah, and sometimes even after 10 years they don't tell it, because I don't know why. But you see, you listened already, you heard already about what I've told you. But you must also not be very careful and not to try to make something holy that is not holy. You see, not holify, it's not the right word, but I make this probably English, not to make holy something that is physical, something corporeal, how do you call it? Doesn't matter. Corporal, okay? Nothing that is corporal is holy. Remember it, very, very careful. Not make mistakes, because this is very tricky. That's why there are a lot of Hasidim, Hasidim, there are a kind of different kinds of movements in Jewish faith, in the Jewish tradition, with long, some black suits like this. But they say that it's holy. Normally they always, it's holy, the bird is holy. You see, nothing is holy that it must be for you something as a rule. Nothing is holy that you can see with your eyes. Remember what I said to you, don't listen to others who will tell you something, a story about something what is holy. Everything what you see is not holy. Remember? Something, a virtual place within a person. The kilim that correspond to the light receive the holiness, but no person in the world was, is, or will be holy in itself, intrinsic holy. No one holy man was ever holy. Only by working on himself, bringing himself into in similarity with the light, then a man, a woman, doesn't matter, can receive this holiness. Very important, this is a very important point. There is no holiness that is seen. No with eyes, no feeling. This is the light that doesn't connect itself in no connection with something that is that can die. Everything that can die has no possibility to become holy. So he said to us that this Yesod in the line 21, that the light can be, or the light that comes from this mazal, from the dikna, from the birth of the Arichanpin to the Zeiranpin, is attracted, is drawn by is attracted by this Ateret Yesod of Zeiranpin. That Ateret Yesod now functions as a place where the Masach is built up. Vehanukva 22 after the comma. Vehanukva mekabelet mimenu rak hara vanaf bilvad. And the nukva receives from him only a bit of shining of this light. Only a branch of it. You see, branch is lesser than what the how do you call it, then the root receives. 23 after the point. Ulefichach Yikara zivuga she'al 24 hamasach hamale hei gvurot hamamshichot ve'amalbishot 25 et hei chasadim shehem hei orot hanal hinei hu nasa 26 bayesod de zeir anpin vehu hanoten otam lenukva. Point. Oh, this is his conclusion. Look at it. 23 after the point. Ulefichachen, and therefore, ikar zivug, the essence of the zivug, or the main point of the zivug, sha'al masach, that takes place on the masach, hamale 24, hamale hei gvurot, the masach that rises up, that rises 5 gvurot, like the Malchut did, that masach that rises up the 5 gvurot, hamamshichot, v'hamalbishot, that are attracted and that are embedding, that are closing, better to say, that are dressing, 25, et hei chasadim, that dress the 5 chasadim within them, shehem hayaorot, which 5 chasadim are 5 lights. Hinei hu nasa, behold, they are made. This is made, this zivug, this is all made, 26, by yesod the zeir anpin, in the yesod of the zeir anpin. Very, very important. Vehu hanoten otam lenukva, and he, yesod of zeir anpin, gives them to the nukva. This is very important thing what he says to us. So, what we are, in fact, what we are seeing, what we see, what he tells us is, it is not that, firstly, not that Zeir Anpin gives it, or even Yesod gives it to the Nukva. That Yesod, look, it is not that the Yesod receives these 5 Chasadim from the Binah, and he just shines upon the Nukva, and the Nukva rises up the 5 Gvurot as being the reflection of this light, as Or Choser, as the reflected light. It is not like this, you see, but it is Zeir Anpin. It's a very important feature, that the Yesod of Zeir Anpin has in itself, as it were, 2 elements. Look, Zeir Anpin, Yesod of Zeir Anpin is, as it were, like masculine, as the giver of these 5 Chasadim, and the Ateret Yesod that lies under the Yesod of Zeir Anpin is like Nukva, it is like the Nukva of Zeir Anpin. So, the Ateret Yesod of Zeir Anpin is, as it were, like feminine. It makes the 5 Gvurot rising up and connecting these 5 chasadim. And then this Ateret Yesod has in itself 5 chasadim within itself, and 5 gvorot that dress these 5 chasadim. And these two together are called the seed. And this seed, now the Ateret Yesod gives to the Nukva. You see how important it is. You see from here we see that the masculine, like Zeir Anpin, the Yesod of it has two elements, as it were, masculine and feminine. And we will see this feature of these 2 features of Zeir Anpin, of the Yesod of Zeir Anpin. Zeir Anpin is, look, the Yesod is the middle line, yes? So it has in itself from the right line and from the left line. It has from the right line, it has an element of it in itself from the Sphira, from the right, Sphira Netzach. And from the left, it has from the Sphira Hod. And right gives to the left, yes, the light comes from right to the left, or from above down. It is the same as we say from right to the left, or from the, quite the same, or from above below. So Yesod, everywhere where the Yesod is, but especially the Yesod that on his right place, as the 9th Sphira from above, below, has in itself these 2. In the right side of this Yesod, you have 5 chasadim, and in the left you have 5 gvorot. And this is very special. This is only the Yesod has these features. And that's why only the Yesod is able to give to the Nukva, because the Nukva needs the gvorot that are softened, or, as we say, that are sweetened by the Chasadim. So actually he gives here first the Gvorot, because his Gvorot are sweet for him, for her. His Gvorot are for her, of course it's Gvorot, but they are Gvorot from Zeir Anpin. And then he gives here also from his, shines here from his own Chasadim. And then this light, she, the Malchut or the Nukva, appreciates. Because the Nukva is the real reality, is the actual, the creation that needs Chokhmah. And the Chokhmah that Nukva receives, they receives it in the gradation that we call it Gvorot. So she receives Gvorot, she receives Chokhmah that is dressed in the Chasadim, also of the Yesod. So we see everything exists like this. Everything, if someone in his or is in her spiritual work still comes to the Yesod, corrects its, in every situation, its one's kilim in up till the Yesod, then it allows him or her to reflect the light up till the Chokhmah, to receive the light of Chokhmah, the Chaya, the light of living light, the light that makes live. Only this light, the light of Chaya, is enough for the Malchut. And every one of us has the Malchut in every situation, the place of Malchut. That's we need also to attract it from the Yesod. So Yesod is within us by correcting ourselves up till the Yesod, and we try to do it in every situation, to use every situation, to grasp a chance in every situation to work on yourself, and not just make the chance going, how do you call it, to lose the chance. That's why, and then we receive the light of Chasadim from the Yesod, from my own Yesod. And this makes that I feel then in the place of Malchut, I feel the dinim, the judgment and strictness of the law that are sweetened, not the wishful thinking of myself, or just how do you call it? By using all kinds of drugs or other pleasures that just destroy me. But the real sweetening of these two, and then I receive then the gvurot that I need. Without the gvurot is no life. Like Chokhmah. The gvurot is also the Chokhmah, but this Chokhmah that the Malchut can receive. And Chasadim, I need also the Chasadim, I need the loving kindness. So this combination of these two gives the right burning and the formula that gives me the reality, the feeling of living in the reality. And this is the real situation, the reality. This is what a man says on the day of the Rosh Hashanah, of the new year of the universe, and the 10 days that following after that, up till the day self of the Yom Kippur. How do you call it, Yom Kippur? The day of atonement. That's what they say. Write me, please, into the book of the living. It means the state where I will be able to receive, I as Malchut, as the creation, will be able to receive, to be corrected, in order to receive, enabling me receive from the Yesod these two components that are in me, that make in me the experience of the living in the eternity.